Buongiorno, everyone. Don't worry, Neil. I'm here. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Magpie channel here for lineup predictions. Yeah, I've heard this a few times lately. Where's Keg? It's just Keg, by the way. No double GS or anything like that. Yeah, obviously been a little bit busy, but these lineup predictions are still coming. Don't you worry about that. What is to worry about, though, is Brighton. Tomorrow, 5:30 at the Amex Stadium down in Brighton, away. 5:30 kickoff live on BT Sport. Haven't had a live game in quite a while. A lot of Saturday 3 o'clock kickoffs, but we are on TV tomorrow. A sold out away end down at the Amex. And it's going to be a tricky one, obviously, because it's Newcastle. But normally, Brighton would be around about our area, round down there, bottom of the league. But to be fair, Brighton's had a really good start of the season. Been saying for a little while that Graham Potter's doing really well. I don't even know where, what was he called? Lamptey. Tariq Lamptey, absolute run riot around us last year. I think it was like second game of the season, second or third game of the season at St. James's, beat with 3-0. Jesus. I haven't even seen much of him, to be fair, this year, but 8th in the league currently, 8th against 19th, 4 wins, 4 draws, and only 2 defeats for Brighton so far this season. 4 wins. What would that be like? That would be absolutely fantastic. That would be. 2 losses, though, being at home against Everton and Man City. Not too bad there. So the only 2 defeats that they've had this season have been at home against Everton and City. Only that 1 loss against Man City in the last 5. No wins in the last 5, but that 1 loss and 4 draws. One of them last week away to Liverpool at Anfield after being 2-0 down. Almost 3. Mane's goal was ruled out for VAR. I was sitting there at St. James's in the Chelsea game. Oh, Liverpool's 3-0 up. Next thing I know, they're drawn 2-2. How's that? Yeah, not too bad. Draw against City, and that's 2 hard games in a row. They've played Liverpool and City. Came out with a point. Cannot really be too angry at that. And then the other 5 out of the other 5 games they've drawn with Norwich away, Arsenal at home, and Palace away. So yeah, pretty good season for Brighton. You know, it is what it is. Like what we would do to be in that position, 8th in the league, 4 wins. So I think it's 16 points they've got against us, 19th in the league, no defeats, 4 draws, however many losses that makes you. I can't even be asked to do the maths because still pissed off, man. That game against Chelsea, just mentioned I was there, and fuck me, that was so disappointing. I've seen some shite games at St. James's Park in the last 15 years, but that took the biscuit, that did. And like, you know, it's Chelsea. Like, we didn't expect to win. I think if we tried our absolute best, we could have still got beat 3-0 off them. There's no shame in that. They're top of the league. I think they've only lost 1 game this season. They're the current European champions. No shame in losing to Chelsea. Nobody expects to beat them at home. But just a try, man. A bit of effort. It was pathetic, man. We weren't closing down. We were giving them all the time in the world. No one was sticking a foot in. Absolutely dreadful performance. Embarrassing. It's just as bad as anything that it was under Brucey. That was absolutely awful. I expected a bit more from Graham Jones. I really did/do like Graham Jones. But as a head coach, he quite clearly isn't it. I'm going to have a look through some of your questions in a minute. I can only assume quite a few of them are going to be about Eddie Howe. We'll get onto that in a minute. Keeping on to Brighton, though. Done their form guide, done what they've done recently. How about our form guide together, though? We haven't beat Brighton in the Premier League. What kind of stat is that? Since we both came up in 2017, that tough year where they thought they'd won the league, we actually pipped it last day of the season. So we both came up together as champions and runners-up of the championship. Came up 2017. Since then, that's been 8 games, 4 at St. James's, 4 at the Amex, 4 draws, 4 losses. Shocking record, that, you know, against Brighton. Like, no disrespect to Brighton. We get a bit of stick of Brighton fans. I'm sure there's going to be one. There's usually always one. There's one always in the comments. Doesn't like it when we say anything bad about Brighton. Not allowed. But yeah, so at St. James's, since we both got promoted, we've drew 0-0, lost 1-0, drew 0-0 again. Oh, they're always bad games, to be fair. Like, at least there's going to be some goals in when we lose. Them 3-0s and the 1-1s. Fuck me. They are some of the bad games. I think it was the nil. I think it was the first 0-0. When we first came up, that 0-0. I think that was probably one of the most boring games I've ever seen in my life. Just neither team had anything in them. Oh, I think I zoned out after a while. It was the worst performance I've ever seen from two teams on the field. It's like they just both wanted the points, so they just started passing the ball around in the middle of the park for 90 minutes. It was lifting. So, yeah, 2-0 nils and a 1-0 defeat. And obviously, last year's 3-0 defeat, as I mentioned, I think it was 3-0 within like 10 minutes or something, wasn't it? Lifting performance. And at the Amex, where it counts, where it is tomorrow. Again, first game up. The first game that we played together in the Premier League, we got beat at the Amex 1-0. There was a 1-1 draw, a 0-0 draw, and again, a 3-0 defeat. Last season, home and away, 3-0. How do you like it? Lifting. I don't like it at all. They will be without Danny Welbeck and Stephen Alzate tomorrow. Good to see Danny Welbeck out. I've always been a fan of Danny Welbeck when he decides to stay fit. He's a really, really good striker and can be dangerous on his day. And the big, strong centre-back, big, tall powerhouse from Blythe. You don't mess with big lads from Blythe. Dan Burn is a doubt. So we'll see about that one. But they've still got a couple of decent defenders. Obviously, Lewis Dunk. And I was thinking of Ben White, but he isn't there anymore, is he? So I'm not even sure who else they've got other than Dan Burn and Lewis Dunk. So, yeah, they are out. And as far as we are concerned, the only absentee we've got is the same one as we've had all season in Paul Dummett. Other than Dum, everybody else is available. Martin Dubravka's back, obviously an unused sub in that Chelsea game. Who was expected to start. I've been seeing rumours. We'll have a little look at that. Could be cautious on Matt Ritchie, who's on 4 bookings, so one more would see him suspended for the next game. Elliot Anderson, who's been in and out of fitness so far this season, started and captained the under-23s this afternoon in an away tie against Southampton, in which we got beat 5-0. So it's not just the first team that's fucking it up. Well done, under-23 lads. 5-0 defeat away to Southampton. The other fringe player down there, Joe White, he played the full 90 minutes, but he's been on the bench once or twice. So he's not really too much of a first-team player just yet. So, yeah, other than Dummett, everybody is available. So Jonesy for his final game in charge. Hopefully, we'll see about that one. For Jonesy's last game in charge, Dummett is the only absentee, so got pretty much a full first-team squad to go at. So we're going to go into the lineup prediction shortly, but we are going to jump into the comments, so get them in right now while you can. Expect a terrible lineup, hopefully from Jonesy, not from me. I am going to change things up a little bit this week, though, to be fair. I am going to go get a bit more with what I hope and what I think we should see, as opposed to be fair, if you watch the Chelsea lineup, I was bang on from the bench, all 20 players, 11 on the field, 9 on the bench, spot on, prediction right. Nobody tell me I'm wrong. This week, though, I will be wrong because I'm going a little bit more with heart over head. My head tells me that we probably will play that same 11 again. I just really don't want to. I didn't have it in us this afternoon while writing me predictions up, that we were going to say that same thing with Fraser and Kraft and Sean Longstaff, 5 at the back formation, Almiron and Willock on the bench. I don't want to see that shit, man. No Shaw, no Lascelles as well. I don't know where Lascelles is. Made a mistake on there. Just marking my notes up. There we are. Yeah, not Lascelles, sorry, Shaw. I'm too busy looking at my notes. Right, how's it going, mate? How are you doing? Good to see you. Will my mouse roll up? There we are. Hello, John. Good to see you, mate. How we doing? Jolly Fan 97 says a 5-3-2. Give Dubravka and Willock starts. I agree, 100%. I will agree with the formation as well, as much as I don't really want to say that. Callum in here as always. Good to see you, Mara. Hope we don't play Fraser again, and I want Joe Linton. Good shout, Martin. I'm pleased to see someone wants Joe Linton on, because I feel like I'm the only one that has his back most days. I would like to see him back again. Fraser, I love Fraser. Hopefully we can see his career rejuvenated once Eddie Howe comes in. Obviously, they played really, really well together, him and Callum Wilson, and Matt Ritchie a few years prior to that as well. So, yeah, hopefully Fraser will be rejuvenated, but And I have been happy to see him start the last couple of games because I really want to see him come in and do well, but he just hasn't been. Like when a player's just not playing well, sometimes you've just got to say, look, we've got other players. Joey was in great form before Jones came in. Credit to Bruce. Brucey had played Joelinton playing the way that he should have been when he first came instead of up front as a lone striker, getting right stuck in, holding up the play and all that. And Fraser, he just doesn't look fit. It's not that he's not good enough or not interested or whatever. I just don't think he's fit. And without fitness, he's lost his form as well. So, yeah, I'd quite like to see Fraser dropped for this game. And whether that be Joey or someone else, then let's see what it is. I guarantee you Richie will be at left wing back and Fraser in centre mid again. Probably. That's why I've kind of gone a little bit different. But yeah, we'll see about Richie as well. It's a shame how I can't pick the team. I have heard that, well, depending on if he gets the job, of course, within the next 24 hours, that he could have an influence. He might have a say because I think he's going to work with Graham Jones. I think Graham Jones is going to keep his job at Newcastle United, not obviously as the head coach or interim coach, caretaker manager, whatever the bloody hell you call it these days. But yeah, I think Graham Jones is going to stay at Newcastle in some capacity as in the backroom staff. But yeah, I have heard that Eddie Howe could help out and help with the team, maybe give a bit of advice for what you would like to see going forward. Obviously, if he is the manager come 5:30 on Saturday, then why not? Obviously, Jones has took them in training all week and had them prepared and stuff, so it's going to be Jonesy's game, but Eddie Howe could sprinkle a dash of influence in there, which would be good to see. Hopefully we can get a draw, and how it gets announced tonight would be a real boost going into the game, 100%. Yes, I don't really want a draw, to be honest. Like, we're in a relegation battle. 1 point might as well be fucking 0 points at this rate, but it is better than nothing. And like I say, Brighton are having a really, really good year, sitting in 8th with 4 wins. So a draw literally is better than nothing at this stage. Can't expect to beat a decent team like Brighton at the minute. And yeah, I do think Eddie Howe getting announced would give them all a boost, none more so than the ex-Bournemouth players, like I mentioned, Wilson, Fraser, and Richie. Surprised nothing's been announced yet. Was expecting something this morning. I was expecting something, to be fair. What time is it now? 5:13. My notifications haven't been coming through today as well, which has really been pissing us off. So even if it did come through, I wouldn't know about it. But yeah, I was expecting something by now. But yeah, it is what it is. Obviously, they're taking that time. It's probably not going to be an easy deal. Obviously, I think Eddie Howe's going to want a bit of clarification. He obviously turned Celtic down in the summer because he didn't agree with what they were doing. Or was it last summer? This summer or last summer? I don't know. But yeah, he turned Celtic down because he wanted a bit more. He wanted clarification on what was happening, which is apparently why Unai Emery turned it down, because there wasn't enough vision and clarification from the new owners. So we'll see. He's agreed on a conditional deal. Yeah, so we'll see. Can't really rush these things. It's a big thing, accepting a big job like Newcastle, especially with the ownership, 2.5-year contract. He's going to want real clarification before he signs on the dotted line. And I think the owners, while they've still got maybe a couple of people on the table, might still try and push for Emery or Benitez or Favre or Fonseca. Who knows? So both parties might just be keeping their options open at the minute and just wanting that finalization before making things permanent. So yeah, can't rush these things, but yeah, hopefully it does get announced soon. Spencer says hopefully it'll be announced after the Brighton game. Hopefully before. I would like it to be done before. As someone said before, could give her a real boost. That was Aaron. If our players wake up and see what's at stake, it might not be as bad, but will they wake up? I mean, literally, that is the question. Will they pull a finger out the arse? Will John Joe Shelby decide he wants to be the footballer that he was in 2012? Probably not. You know, you can't expect these things. Like, it's not as if they're getting paid 60 grand a week now, is it? Like, professional footballers, man, fucking pull a finger at your arse. I fear a similar performance under Jones, as I've not seen anything to say different. Let's have a go. Absolutely. Like I said before, that Chelsea game was shocking, embarrassing, just as bad as anything Brucey could have done. The one before that, the Crystal Palace game, good point away to Crystal Palace. Take that, especially when Christian Benteke probably could have had 5 goals by himself. If he was just a little bit more sharp, then he could have had loads and loads of goals. Benteke, Not a great defensive performance, but decent overall performance, I suppose. Points better than nothing when, let's say, Christian Benteke could have literally beat Wood by himself. Maybe Jones will go for it as he is likely his last game in charge. But yeah, that probably is clutching at straws a little bit, Spencer. I wish it was true. I wish it was a bit more, but he should have been given it a go from the start. Gateshead Graham. It's his dream job. But to be fair, it was maybe Brucey's as well. Hometown boys want to do everything they can for the club. Performances have been lifting. Hello, Andrew. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it, mate. Do you think we will get behind Eddie Howe as a fan base? We all have to get together and support him. This weekend us being to a fractured. Very good point. And yes, I do think we will be. I think some people might be a little bit disgruntled that we haven't got a top European manager. But from what I've been seeing on Twitter, I haven't really seen many negativities, to be fair. I know there's quite a few that, let's say, they're not too happy. They wanted someone better. But I think once he gets the job, then we've got to get behind him. I don't see any reason to be sitting whinging. Like, as long as the owners are going to back him, give him the money that he needs in January and hopefully in September when we survive, fingers crossed, touch wood. I think we will get behind him, yeah, I really do. And, like, those that are complaining about him, wake the fuck up. Like, what's the matter with you? Like, we've dealt with shit for the last 15 years. We've had Steve Bruce for the past 2.5. Like, Eddie Howe cannot be any worse than that. If you think about what he actually has done with Bournemouth and the budget that he would have had there, if you tell me, I've seen at this point on Twitter, to be fair, I'm plagiarizing what I've seen, to be fair. If you was like a German or Spanish foreign manager, like for like Leipzig, for example, started down in the 3rd tier of German football, survived them from nearly going bust. Bournemouth were literally on the brink of going down non-league football, on the cusp of relegation from League 2. Eddie Howe came over, took over, kept them up last day of the season. From there, took them up past League 2, League 1, Championship, and against the odds, got them to the greatest league in the world, the Premier League. And most teams like Bournemouth, who wouldn't have had huge financial backing, not a huge fan base, no world-class players, you would have expected them to go down pretty much straight away, if not probably the year afterwards. 5 years they remained in the Premier League, once finishing 19th. He got them from 23rd in League 2 to 9th in the Premier League. If that was a German or French or Italian manager, you'd have been creaming your pants at that. And from the interviews that I've been seeing of him talking about tactics and attacking, how attack's the best form of defense, you can't tell me this isn't what we've been crying out for ages. And if you're looking at, oh, well, he got Bournemouth relegated. Yeah. But have you listened to what I've just said? Got them from the bottom of League 2 all the way up, survived 5 years, top 10 finish. I think others you got around about 14th and 16th from a club without huge financial backing. He'd done a very, very, very good job. I think getting relegated was an inevitability sooner rather than later. He took them as far as possibly could, and it was a mutual decision to walk away as well. I think he agreed that he took them as far as he possibly could and wanted a new challenge. That's why he left. He didn't get sacked because they got relegated. So, like, tactics, man. We haven't had tactics for 2.5 years since Brucey took over, since Rafa. So we need to get behind Eddie Howe, trust that he can do it. He can form a new formation, an attacking style that we'll want to see at St. James's. And yeah, we've got to get behind him, man. Tarek Lamptey and Mwepu are ones we need to watch out for. Great goal from Mwepu against Liverpool, wasn't it? Yeah, I'd put a bet on Mwepu scoring. What a goal at Anfield that was. Adam Webster's the other Brighton centre-back. Thank you, Spencer. Yeah, I knew they had another big fucker at the back. I couldn't remember his name. Adam Webster, that's the one. It's a joke that we haven't beat Brighton since 2017, yeah. Are Fernandes and Shaw fit? Yes. Well, I don't know, to be honest. Shaw is. Fernandes just hasn't been in under Graham Jones the last 2 games. No mention of him. Nothing to say that he's been injured. Family reasons. Break, holiday, literally hasn't been spoke about, but been omitted from both of the squads. Not even a place on the bench. So, Shaw fit? Yeah, Fernandes, I ain't got a clue, mate, as far as I'm aware. The last couple of weeks, Jonesy's only mentioned that Domit's the only absentee. So, not too sure what's going on with the Fernandes situation there. Might need to have a look out for. John's first away game for years. Hopefully it's not 11 at the back. Oh, unlucky Jono. Yeah, I'm not going to... Does anybody want to tell John? Yeah. 4-2-3-1 would be best in my opinion. Absolutely facts. We've been saying this for a couple of years. Hopefully Eddie Howe can kind of get this formation out, and we can utilize Ryan Fraser once he's fit on one side, play Miggy in behind Callum Wilson with Maxi on the other side, two centre mid, sorry. This is our best formation with the personnel that we currently have at the squad, and hopefully someone can see that and we'll start using it sooner or later. Need the Bravka in, shout with our crap defence. Yep. Need Joey playing against them massive lads. That's a good point as well, John, to be fair. Yeah. Like I said, they are big lads. Hopefully we're going to... Joey's probably our biggest lad. Tough. So yeah, that's probably a good point. Really want Sean Fernandez to play, and Lewis playing as well would be nice. We'll look for Longstaff and Fraser off for Miggy. I think you've been having a look at my lineup prediction, haven't you? You've had a sneak peek. Because, yeah, mine's rather similar. Just put players in the natural positions. Seems simple. Yeah. Joelinton's definitely not worth 40 million. Absolutely not. Yeah, I'm a big Joelinton defender, but he's not worth 40 million. That's agreed. He just provides solid presence when he's playing on the wing. Yeah. Evening, Pete. We need to win, and our squad players will need to impress Howe this Saturday. Yeah. Especially with Howe being at the game on Saturday. Yeah. I think Fonseca would do a great job, but I'm behind Howe if he gets the job. Yep, me too. I think anyone really, as long as they're backed. I think we have got good players as well. We just need them to get a boot up their arse. We just need them to play some football, good coaching, good tactics. That's all we need. We've got a good squad, but we're just not seeing it at all at the minute. And then obviously with January around the corner, hopefully we can get some better players in. Of course, we haven't got a big European manager yet. We're not a big European team yet. Very good point. This is how he likes to play. Would be interesting to see who fits into the system. Can see Miggy and others actually playing where they actually need to be, and it would be nice. Yeah, absolutely agreed. He had enough to spend as long as he spends smart. One of people criticize Howe for is the money that he did spend. He supposedly spent 40 million on Dominic Solanke and Jordan Ibe. That's what people are getting at Eddie Howe for. They weren't great in the Premier League, granted. Solanke is banging them in the Championship. I think he was a good signing, just never really got his shooting boots on, did he? Sheffield United last season spent big money on Ryan Brewster. I think he only scored 1 or 2 goals. It happens. Sometimes people just don't hit the ground running. Who else is it? There's another couple of relatively big money signings that's come in the Premier League in the last few years that just haven't hit the ground running. But yeah, and another thing about Eddie Howe. People saying, yeah, he got relegated from Bournemouth. So, look around. A lot of managers, you have a look. Klopp got relegated with, was it Mainz? Quite a few big-time managers have getting relegated with their clubs. And especially when they're young, it's probably a good thing. Learn from it. Don't let it define you. You can't be like, oh, he got relegated with Bournemouth. Look at the back-to-back promotions that he had with them to get them into the Premier League and remain in the Premier League. It can work for if you look at the likes of Conor McGregor and Anthony Joshua and stuff, when they were going unbeaten, top of the world, and then that unbeaten record goes, they're like, all right, brush it off. I've took a defeat. I've learned from it. I'm not unbeatable. Learn from it, rise from it, grow from it. That's what Eddie Howe can do. That was his last job. The last time he stepped foot into the dugout, he was getting relegated with Bournemouth. He's had a year and a half to reflect on that, learn from that, and grow from that. This could be the making of Eddie Howe. He's only 42 years old and done wonders with Bournemouth. He walked away probably when the time was right. Now's the time for him to take on a bigger job. He's been linked in the past few years to even the England job. He's probably as good as an England manager than there is out there. If anyone can name a better English manager right now, crack on. And yeah, he's had been linked to the Arsenal job, when Emery got the boot. I think he could do with a big job. I quite fancied him for the West Ham job before last, after he walked from Bournemouth. I thought that would have been a good fit. To be fair, Moisey's done a good job. But yeah, I think Howe needs an opportunity, and if he's going to get good financial backing and the freedom to do what he wants to do, then I think he's going to be a success. Klopp has a relegation on his CV, as I just mentioned. Yeah, hasn't done bad. He hasn't done bad at all. Tactics? What are tactics? Don't know what tactics are as a Newcastle fan. Shelby should never play again. 100% agree with that one. Should be one of the first names out of the door for me. Right, going to come back into the comments in a bit because I've been waffling for 25 minutes and haven't done my lineup prediction yet. Going to start with it right now once I remove that comment. Sorry, NUFC TV. So going to start with one big change, probably the biggest change that I'm going to make, which is the most deserved, and Martin Dubravka comes back into the starting lineup. As he is expected, it has been rumoured. I know everybody wanted to see him in against Chelsea. Personally, I did think Jonesy probably done the right thing in not rushing Dubravka in, but Darlow was awful for me. Obviously conceded 3 goals. I don't know if he could have done better with the goals that he conceded, but it's like composure. A lot of people saying Dubravka for captain as well. Come back, shout with the defence, command it and stuff. I just don't think Darlow does that much, and anytime that we did get the ball against Chelsea, as we have done for the past few years, we'll pass it back, give it to the goalkeeper. And Darlow just didn't have that composure on Saturday. Every time the ball was coming back, he was just hoofing it out. And it was going out for throw-ins. It wasn't reaching his man. There's just no composure, no distribution. It was awful. So obviously everybody knows that when he's fit and healthy, which hasn't been the case as much as we would have liked over the last couple of seasons, Dubravka's my number one. Absolutely no question about it. Going to go into the back 5, which I think Jonesy, no more Brucey. Jonesy will be keeping. I know Wall would like to change it and probably go to a 4 at the back formation, but I think Jonesy will be keeping 5, and that will be these. And this, as I said before, is a little bit more hopeful than anything. Matt Ritchie's the one that I know everybody wants to see replaced for Jamal Lewis, who, yes, I agree. I would be very, very happy with that. But I think Jones is quite happy with this formation. Manquillo, I think, it's been brilliant for the last few games. There was one moment, particularly in the Chelsea game in the second half, where he was chasing the ball down, caused an absolute nuisance for Mendy. They were passing the ball back because he was running around like a little Rottweiler. And that's what happened. Like twice in that whole game against Chelsea, we closed down and we pressed their line. And both times, we won the ball back. It went up for a throw-in. We got possession back. I think in the first half, it was like a mutual thing. I think everybody was closing down. That was one little instance, one short, shoddy little instance. Then in the second half, it was just Manquillo. Manquillo was running around, ended up all the way down to the other corner from where he should have been on the field, and we won the ball back because they couldn't deal with the pressure. Twice we've done that. If we'd done that a bit more, we would have had possession a bit more. We could have won the ball. Man, then tactics were lifting, man. And then the back 3, obviously what everybody wants to see with Shaw and Fernandez back. Lascelles is the captain. I'm going to presume will keep his place. Shaw being the main one, though. Everybody's been asking for it for weeks and weeks. Where is he? Hasn't been getting played. I think particularly in this formation. I think Eddie Howe will probably like him as well because he's a bit more attacking minded. Especially in this formation as well with the 5 at the back where he gets the freedom to go on these mazy runs and bang some long field crosses down the field. This is where Shaw plays best for me. And Fernandez, as I mentioned before, I don't know where he is. Like, there's been no mention of him for the last couple of weeks and he hasn't been in the squad, so I can't say that he's injured or unavailable. I don't know. But what I do know is Clark ain't it. Kieran Clark hasn't been the guy, neither has Emil Kraft, so that's why these two need to be changed. But back to Richie, though, as I mentioned before, he's on 4 bookings now, so if he does play this game and gets a yellow card, he will be suspended once we come back from the international break. Midfield pairing of Isaac Hayden and Joe Willock. Obviously, everybody wants Joe Willock to come back. Nobody wants to see John Joe Shelby in the squad. Sean Longstaff's been all right. Like, I've been a very big critic of him for the past Brucey era. He's been shite, really. But I think the last few weeks, I think he's been all right. But I don't know why Willock's on the bench. Probably the same for Almiron as well. I think maybe that was Brucey's idea. I know when Willock came in last season and he picked up a little bit of an injury while he was on loan. When he came back, he was just being bled in, sub-appearance, and that's when he started on that run of seven goals in 7 games, starting from the bench. So it was looking as if he was going to be an impact sub, if everybody remembers that. We were saying, like, why is he even on the bench? Like, he's scoring goals every game. Why is he on the bench? Like, yeah, he's making an impact off the bench, fresh legs, and it's great and it's working. But imagine what he can do in a full 90 minutes. And I know we haven't really seen much of it this season, that he's been a little bit underwhelming. I think everybody would probably agree, but we've all seen the player that's in there, and we just need that to come back. Hopefully, the last couple of weeks where he's been on the bench, he's maybe had a little bit more of a break. So hopefully he can come back fitter and back into that starting 11, replacing Sean Longstaff alongside Isaac Hayden. And the front three then, along with Joe Willock, as I mentioned, Miggy Almiron needs to come back into this team to replace Ryan Fraser, who hasn't been playing much, who has been playing over the last couple of weeks, and hasn't been impressing. Or what you could do is what mentioned before from somebody in the comments, that Joe Linton could come in as well and probably play on one of the sides, left or right, and let Maxi take up the other flank. But I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Almiron in, using his pace, getting at the defenders, using his speed, nipping in between. Could be good tactics, could also be good tactics to put Big Joe up against their big back line and cause them a little bit of havoc. So, yeah, either one of them, Almiron or Joe Linton in place of Ryan Fraser, I'd be happy with. And the other two, you don't even need to mention. Callum Wilson, the boy, Alan Maximin, the boy. Top two players in the starting 11 for here, for now, until eternity. That is my starting 11. I'm going to quickly jump back into the comments, see what you are saying. Kind of makes me wonder why we think it's okay for players to clean slate when new manager comes in. Yeah, when you give Howard a chance, like, there's no point putting him down before he's even started. 4-3-3 with Isaac Hayden as DM sitting in front of the defence. Would be very, very happy to see that. Is Graham Jones taking charge tomorrow? Maybe a little bit of influence from Eddie Howe if he gets appointed before the game. Been watching Eddie Howe's training when he was at Bournemouth. Looks a lot better than useless Bruceless. I like it. Yeah, I think I watched that same video as well from the Bournemouth TV channel when Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser were there. He just seems to get it. Like, I just can't imagine Steve Bruce doing any of that. Like, I'd love to see a video like that, or if we had like an all or nothing season on Prime, like a documentary following us for the season. I'd love to see that under Steve Bruce, man. See what he actually does, what he tells the players. Like if you haven't seen that video on the Bournemouth YouTube channel, go ahead and watch it. It is an interesting watch, just to see what Eddie Howe's like with these players, how he communicates with them. It's brilliant to watch, and it is exciting. Jones said Fernandez is no longer part of the squad. Did he? When did he say that? I might need to get back on and have another watch of that press conference because I missed that. I want to see Lascelles dropped. He's awful week in, week out. I didn't think he was too bad against Chelsea. I think out of a bad bunch, I don't think he was too bad, but I'm not going to start licking hoop. Like, I agree, he's way too inconsistent and not really good enough, especially when he's carrying the team as the captain. So I'll expect on the likes of Chemba. Every manager makes mistakes. Yeah, that is very, very true. A reunion with Nathan Ake in January would be nice. Could be. I've seen we've been linked with a few defenders. John Stones from Man City. Obviously, they've got quite a few there, like Laporte and Ruben Diaz are doing really well this season. Stones rejuvenated his career at the end of it last year. That's why they brought in Ruben Diaz, so Ruben Diaz and Laporte could play centre-back, but Jones was unbelievable, and because of that, now Nathan Ake is on the fringe. I think that was it, really. Like they spent nearly 130 million on Ake and Diaz to replace Stones, and Stones was better than both of them. So now Nathan Ake is way down in the pecking order at Man City, so wouldn't mind being reunited with him. Lascelles definitely needs drops, and a nice agreement there. Good to see the fan base coming together. I just hope Howe will look to Europe too for players and not just England. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Is Howe taking charge tomorrow? No, it's Graham Jones. Callum doesn't estimate Eddie Howe. He's a very smart coach and a tough coach as well. Yeah, he does seem to be. Won't be any more days off. Yes, because he is physical and he is aggressive in his approach, Eddie Howe. Seems like a dead nice guy as well, but nice guys don't get you anywhere. Like Steve Bruce, everybody goes, oh, but he's a really nice guy. Couldn't give a fuck, mate. I want my manager to coach the team. put a boot up their arse if they need to, which most of them at the minute do. John Joe Shelvey in particularly. Demand high fitness levels and proper nutrition. That, again, screams John Joe Shelvey to me. No more days off, high levels of fitness. I think that's where players like John Joe Shelvey need to go in January, because they just don't seem to have the work ethic at the minute. It's really frustrating, because I know he's got the ability, but he just doesn't want to show it. So, yeah, I think Eddie Howe will be a shock to the system for the players that's played under Steve Bruce for the last couple of years. We'll probably play Dubravka, assuming Aaron Joint on goal. Maybe. Hopefully not. Whack a bet on Callum Wilson, because Brighton is another team he likes scoring against. Is it Callum? Give a little bit more stats on that. I know he's got like 8 goals in 7 or 8 games against West Ham, hasn't he? How many has he got against Brighton? Eddie will not start playing attacking football from the start, and fans need to understand this. Probably not from the start. Yeah, I probably agree with that. I think when he needs January, really needs that transfer window to come in and sort things out. And we need better defenders. Like, we can't really rely. Like, I think we're much better in attack than what we are at the back. So it's easy to go a little bit more attacking, but if we do go too attacking, it leaves us very vulnerable at the back for a counter attack, because our defense is pish at the minute. So it's maybe best to go a little bit more defensively at the minute, just to help the weakened back line. And unfortunately, the attacking football might suffer at the start, but once Howe gets a January transfer window and maybe the summer transfer window to maybe buy the likes of Nathan Ake or strengthen in wherever areas he feels needs strengthened, then yeah, we'll start seeing attacking football, hopefully. Over the moon with a draw. Win rate will ourselves and the team's pretty scary. What is it, Ian? Stats. People's giving us half stats here. I like full stats. What is the percentage? What is the ratio? Bournemouth fan says transfer record is actually good, says the media focus. Oh, yeah, of course they do, yeah. Like, the media always play people out to be the baddie, or in Steve Bruce's case, the goodie. Then we're placed out to be the baddie. Don't believe what the media say. Like, I've seen Bournemouth fans in the last 24 hours or so bigging up Eddie Howe, saying he's God. He's like their saviour. Like, people saying like, oh, but he got them relegated. Yeah, but again, he got them up from the cusp of non-league football all the way up to the Premier League. He's an absolute hero. Bournemouth fans will never say a bad word against him. They probably agree and were probably devastated when he left, because he took them as far as they could. Like, 9th in the Premier League. If Bournemouth ever get past that again, it'll be an absolute miracle. So it's kind of like the same as why Kevin Keegan left here. Like, I just don't think he felt like there was anything more he could do. It would just be like, there's no challenge anymore. He's probably looking for a new challenge. Like, we've got this far. Will we get there again? Probably not. So might as well walk away now and seek out a new challenge, and kind of blame him for doing so. Let's see. Miggy in the number 10, Lincoln with the mid and front 2. Yeah, absolutely agreed. Going to show you my bench before the comments keep coming in. Who we've got. Carl Darlow drops to the bench in place of Martin Dubravka, who will take up between the sticks. Kieran Clark we'll see about. Obviously, we will see about Fernandez, see what's happening there between him and Graham Jones. Not too sure yet. So Kieran Clark will most likely start, if I'm being honest with myself. Jamal Lewis we'll see about. Obviously, I think Richie will start. He's another one that everybody wants to see start. So Matt Ritchie gets a place on the bench. There's Sean Longstaff, who again may as well get a start in place of Joe Willock, as has been the case for the past few weeks. John Joe Shelvey, who can go on holiday till the end of January until he gets sold, hopefully. Jacob Murphy, who is a very good option to have to replace either Manquillo as wing back or as an attacking option on the wing as well. Big fan of Jacob Murphy. I like what he brings to the team. Good squad rotation player as well. Maybe he's not a week in, week out starter with Manquillo being in form, but always good to have around. Fraser probably needs a little bit of a break, but again, will Jones play the same team that he has the last couple of games? I'm predicting so. I think that he will. So I do expect Ryan Fraser to start again with Almiron on the bench, with Joey, who should potentially get a start as well, and Dwight Gale as a backup striking option. So there's my team there then, guys. There's my bench. There's my starting 11. Just going to keep that on screen if you're just joining, and I'm going to come back and have a look at the rest of your comments. Hope there isn't tension between Howe and Fraser because he stopped playing him. That's a good point, that actually. Yeah, I completely forgot about that, but I think that was more Fraser. I don't think Howe will hold a grudge against him. I watched that YouTube training session with them last night, as I mentioned, and they seem to have good chemistry. Kept calling him Wee Man. Never referred to him as Ryan or anything else. Wee Man was his name, and Fraser was responding to him, and that was fine. I think that was just a bit of a Fraser's contract was coming to an end. I think Bournemouth wanted him to sign a new one, but he didn't want to. He wanted to leave and see what his options were like outside of Bournemouth, which you can respect because they were on the brink of going down. You want a new challenge. You want to get to a new Premier League club, aka Newcastle. So, and it was probably a good idea from Eddie Howe. Obviously, in the name of team cohesion and stuff, why play a player that doesn't really want to play, who's looking for a career elsewhere? So, again, I think that was a mutual decision and probably a good decision from both parties just to part ways before the end of the season out. Obviously, that was after Project Restart, after COVID locked the season down. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Look what we've done with Wilson and Richie when they played for Bournemouth. I do want to know, Ian. This is about Lascelles' ratio from starting. Is it good or is it bad? It's bad, I'm guessing. Although he isn't known for defensive organisation, it can't be any worse than Bruce. Absolutely, yeah. If you look what Rafa did, same team. Steve Bruce never bought a centre back, unless you include Emil Kraft. Steve Bruce didn't buy a centre-back in his 2.5 years. All the centre-backs, bar Emil Kraft, if you want to call him a centre-back, stroke right-back. I think he was signed to be a right-back, to be fair, so we'll exclude him in this argument. Steve Bruce didn't sign anyone. Fernandez and Shaw were Rafa signings. So was Kieran Clark. Paul Dummett's from the academy, obviously, and Lascelles was there before then. So hopefully we can get a couple of centre-backs in and kind of get shot some dead weight because there's quite a bit. But yeah, I do think Eddie Howe will have a bit more of a compact and organised defence. Not saying it's going to be great. They did concede a lot of goals, even with a good player like Nathan Ake in there, but I still think it'll be better than the bullshit we've had over the last few months. Eddie's the one who bought players like Ramsdale. Oh yeah, he did. I forgot about Ramsdale. Where did he go? Because he was at Bournemouth and then Sheffield. That's right, yeah. Ooh, good point. Yeah, it's a very good sign on that, to be fair. Good spot. Any match predictions? Yes, there is. I always forget to give a score prediction, so thank you for reminding me, Newcastle fan, aka Squid Game man. Score prediction, fireworks outside, shut the fuck up. I don't know. I'm going with. I've seen a lot of people saying that they'd be quite happy for a draw. I agree. I would take a nice point. Brighton have had 4 draws in their last 5 games. So yeah, I'm gonna take a very, very optimistic draw, and that's mental coming up against Brighton. You would normally fancy a win, a draw at least. But yeah, I'd take a 1-1, 2-2, something like that. I think a 1-1's a bit more realistic. So that's going to be my prediction, unfortunately, as much as I would like 3 points. I think excites me about Howe isn't the transfers. He made an average side into a Premier League club. Exactly, yeah. I remember when Eddie Howe left Bournemouth, they posted a video. I think it was a 10-minute video, honouring him, thanking him for the time and stuff about his legacy, showing you videos throughout the years. And it showed you the game where they stayed up on the last game of the League 2 season. In the stadium, it's the worse thing Gateshead. It was proper non-league stadium. You could tell that that's where they were, kind of borderline League 2 / non-league. That's what they were back then. Me growing up, who the fuck are Bournemouth? For me to think, if someone told me when I was 15, 16 that Bournemouth would be a Premier League club, I'd be like, you're on crack, you mate. Bournemouth's getting nowhere near the Premier League. It would be a miracle for Bournemouth to get near the Premier League. And that miracle came in the shape of Eddie Howe. Took them up, and up, promotion after promotion, league after league, and maintained a poor side, a very, very bang average side into a decent Premier League club. They were hard to play on that day. We've had some sticky games against Bournemouth in the past when they were in the Premier League under Eddie Howe. They weren't an easy team to play. They even gave some of the big boys like City and Liverpool good runs for their money. And yeah, it turned them into a very good side. That season where they finished 9th. like that excites me as well, like what he can do, and given a bit more money, like obviously Bournemouth aren't the richest club in the world, and he can be a success for Newcastle. Eddie Howe will bring in a lot of Bournemouth players. I don't think he will, because there's a bit more. I think there's a couple that he might like, and I won't be opposed to it. I've always been a fan of Diego Rico, their left back. I think left wing back. We've been linked with him a couple of times. Josh King, we're always being linked with. I think he kind of got the most out of them, knew where to play them. So I wouldn't be opposed to them coming in, but I think with the money and the ambition of our owners now, opposed to where Bournemouth were back then, and with their owners, it's chalk and cheese. He's going to have a lot more to play with, and I think he can get in better players. He's always been the kind to look in like those that are like on the fringe, kind of like a Joe Willock type. You'd look at like Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool for players on the fringe, or lads coming up from the academy, and would sign them, or would look to the lower leagues and pick up like a Matt Ritchie, like a Callum Wilson from Coventry. Like, that's the kind of player that he is. So he's a good scout. So I think with a bit more money and a bit more backing, he'll not just be bringing in a lot of ex-Bournemouth players. I think he'll be a lot wiser than that. Mr. Jones's prediction here: Dubravka, Ritchie, Lascelles, Dummett, Shaw, Murphy. Well, Dummett's not available, so yeah, I don't know about that one. At least we can have a positive chat. That's a good point. Yeah, honestly, I couldn't even be asked to do predictions or any videos a couple of months ago. It was deep me head in. But yeah, a little bit of positivity now. Got a decent manager and good owners. Bournemouth fan, hello Paul, good to see you. Hope you guys do well now, and I promise you that you will love Eddie. He's adored by our fans, as I mentioned before. Thank you very much for getting in with the comments, Paul. Appreciate any other Bournemouth fans watching. Let me know what you think about Eddie Howe. Callum Wilson versus Brighton, 4 goals in 8 appearances. Not too bad. 50% ratio. Take some of that. Yeah, good to hear from Paul. Thank you very much. 2-1, the prediction. Is that a 2-1 win? Hope so. Sorry, mate. 2 in fan here, but Brighton are a hell of a... Oh, yeah, they really are. Like Graham Potter, I would have been very happy with Graham Potter. I think he's a great manager. I think he spoke the other day about links with Newcastle as well. He was quite happy at Brighton, which is fair play. Yeah, Graham Potter is a very, very good manager and got them playing some very, very good football. I think we win 2-1. Have a feeling Jones was firefighting the fitness defense the last few weeks. What's the new kind? Don't know what that means. Can't say it's draw, 1-1. Sneaky suspicion we're going to get our first win. Could do. I really, really hope so. We need 3 points on the board. Very good question, which I'll leave these to you to answer. Who is going to be our first signing in January? That's enough from me. Gone on for nearly an hour. Going to put my prediction back on just in case you're joining again. Got things to do tonight, so going to duck out here while we can. So, yeah, Renty will be at the game tomorrow, so check in with him if you are at the Amex, and come back to the channel to see any post-match coverage. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the Magpie Channel TV. Appreciate everybody that does and everybody in the comments. Love you all. Have a great night, a great weekend, and hopefully we'll get 3 points tomorrow. And enjoy yourself.